Day one of Arizona football camp is in the books, and there were a lot of very impressive things to take away from.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, Mike Luke. Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. This show is brought to you by Gametime. Check it out. Download the Gametime app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. All right, now, football is here, everybody. We are very excited about this. There's a lot to take away from first day in camp, so why don't we get right to it? First and foremost, listen. There were some players that were held out. You have a Teteroa McMillan. You have a Wendell Moyd. Nothing serious. Those guys are all going to be good to go. But some of the players, some of the things that did stand out and stood out immediately. Raymond Polito was not there. Raymond Polito will not be playing this season. There's a lot going on there. I will just say, though, that Raymond Polito is a very good kid, and so be nice, because again, he is a very, very good kid. So let's talk about the offensive line then, because now you got four spots, and we've been talking about this pretty much all off season, in that you've got Jonas Avenea, Wendell Moy, Josh Baker, and Leif Magnuson. With Jonas Avenea, I am a big believer, if you can't find out who that left tackle is, I believe that you have to put Jonas Avenea at left tackle. He is he's the best offensive lineman on the team. You generally don't see a lot of players that are able to play like him at the University of Arizona. I would put him at left tackle, and I would say, well, see you guys later. I'll let you know how it works. That to me is a big part of it. Now, with looking at some of the other offensive linemen, and we're just going to go kind of position by position here. Rhino got a look at left tackle. I'm not sure when it comes to Tylen Gonzalez or any other players like that they're ever going to be able to make that kind of an impact. So you've still got a very, very big spot at the at that left tackle position. Love to see Polito. Love to see Savanea figure that one out and then go from there. Now, on the staying with the offensive side, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He looks different. We've been talking about him. He just looks different. He's shredded. He looks like an NFL back. He also looks like somebody that I would imagine is going to get the lion's share of the carries. Now, again, this is a coaching staff that believes in divvying things up, and that's obviously going to be very good for, Quali Conley, our guy Rayshon Speedy Luke fam. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, though, just looks the part. He's big, he's strong, he's physical. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he's in the NFL in a year, and I also think that he's probably going to end up getting about 60% of the carries. With players like that, you've just got to get them out on the field. He looked incredible, or he looks different. And I love that backfield. Honestly, I don't think you're going to see any drop-off in the Arizona backfield from last year. Sure, you lost Michael Wiley, you lost Jonah Coleman, DJ Williams, but I think between Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, between Quali Conley, Fam, Rayshon Speedy Luke, you're going to have more than enough. Kedrick Risano as well. You got a lot going on there. Then at the tight end spot, there's a lot of tight ends that look good. It's a really good tight end. It's a really good tight end room. There's a lot to like with this tight end group. But I think one guy that everybody's been hoping would emerge is Kean Burnett, and Kean looked absolutely fantastic in his first camp under Brent Brennan, or his first fall camp. He looked the absolute part. He looked like what your a high 4-star tight end is supposed to look like, and he made a really nice catch. Physically, he looks different than the other tight ends. The other tight ends, obviously, there's a lot of solid players there, but Kean looked just a little bit different than the other guys there, so you got to factor that in. I think when you're going to be going with two tight end sets, if you've got a Sam Olsen, if you've got a Kean Burnett, if you've got a If you've got a Roberto Miranda, there's all kinds of really good stuff. But Kean looked very, very good, and I know a lot of people have been wondering about Kean. So far, so good on that one. The wide receiver spot, Romello Murphy was lining up on the outside. I found that one a little bit interesting. That might just be because T-Mac wasn't. That just might be because T-Mac wasn't there. Who knows? But he was getting a lot of reps. The one with this wide receiving unit, the one thing that you can definitely bank on is that they are going to get a lot. There's going to be a lot of guys moving in and out of this wide receiver unit. And when Bobby Wade says he wants to play 5 or 6 guys, I think he does. I think he wants to play 5 or 6 guys, and with and it makes sense. Teteroa McMillan, as long as he's healthy, he's never coming off the field. But all the other guys, they're all talented, but they haven't proven themselves. Montana Lamonius Craig, I mean, got a world of potential. Looks the part unlike any wide receiver on the team, but he's also never really proven it, but, every coaching staff really does seem to like him. With Malachi Riley, I believe Malachi Riley is going to be the breakout performer for the Arizona Wildcats this season. He was in there. You've got, like I said, you got a Romello Murphy. You got a lot of different dudes that are going to be running in and out, and I think that's the way it should be. Honestly, if there are guys that shouldn't come off the field, like I get it. Like if Jacob Cowing and T-Mac are there, they shouldn't come off the field. But that doesn't mean that, some other guys can't get in there. A.J. Jones looked very good as well. Our guy, A.J. Jones, we very much like A.J. Jones. Shout out to his father, Toady Jones. A.J.'s a big physical player that can high point the football and can get, that's got a lot of potential. And it'd be great to see him start to realize some of that. But it looked, like I said, he looked very, very good. The entire offense, honestly, my only question is that offensive line spot. Who can you get at that offensive line spot that will, that can round it out? I love the 4 players we talked about ad nauseum, but, again, obviously Polito's out for the season. You've also got other players that just haven't quite materialized, like an Elijah Payne, just not quite good enough. A Tylen Gonzalez, not quite good enough. Rhino, I think, has the potential to maybe impress some people. We'll see how that one plays out. But you got to find that other one. Jonah Rodriguez, not, we'll see how he plays out. He hasn't been here, so it's hard to really tell. Michael Wooten, same thing. So you at least got some bodies. We'll see how all of that plays out. But overall, this offense, like I said, looks the part, and it should be a very good offensive unit. Now, Noah Fafita talked. He expects to have a big season, and he talked about certain players. And I thought it was interesting that he mentioned Kean Burnett. He mentioned that he said Kean's just from a comfort level, from everything. He's just night and day from where he was last year, and those are the things that you absolutely love to hear. A player that continues to grow. He's done it all the right way. Kean, like I said, believe Kean's got NFL potential, and we'll see how that one plays out this year. But again, one thing that you got to understand, this coaching staff is going to use the tight end a ton. They are a very big believer in utilizing the tight end, and you're going to see a lot of the tight end. So I am all about that. I am more than okay with that. Then there were some, we've got some players that we need to talk about that showed up that I did not know were actually, I knew one of them, but they could be a real difference for the U of A. But first, Gametime. Check it out. Download the Gametime app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the great thing about Gametime is that Gametime can get you into bad concerts, great concerts. It can get you into sporting events. You name it, Gametime's got it. Check it out. Again, there's a reason everybody's using it, and if you're not using it, stop being a putz. Get Gametime and download the Gametime app. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. This is another one of these ones where you will thank me later. Download the Gametime app today. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now, the special teams. All right, I think we got this all figured out. So, Tyler Loop. I love Tyler Loop. I don't know that there's a lot better kickers in the country. I picked him first team all conference on my all Big 12 team. Love Tyler Loop. He is a monster. And I think the thing that a lot of people forget about when you're talking about Tyler Loop is that there's this, this conception that, well, he's only good from 40 yards in or whatever, but no, he's got a much bigger leg than that. He's ultra reliable. I am a big fan of Tyler Loop. Now, at the kicker, you got Lachlan Bruce. Now, you might say, where'd Lachlan come from? Oregon, via British Columbia. He is he's not coming here not to start. He is going to be your punter. He's going to be the replacement for Kyle Ostendorp. Got a big leg. The coaching staff feels pretty good about him, and I love how they were able to kind of just, make that one work. And that's what, resourceful coaches do. They're able to get players in here and they're able to make that work. Then, so you got your kicker situation is really good. Now, listen, we already know with Tyler Loop what he can do, but what is the next, and for a punter perspective, I'd expect Lachlan to be just fine. Whenever it comes to returning kicks, I want Rayshon Speedy Luke, and that's it. And then I want more Rayshon Speedy Luke. And I think that that would very much, I think, be good for everybody involved. Getting him out there as that kick returner. I was taught one thing about Jed Fish I didn't like is that he just believed in having the kick returner just fair catch it each time. That's stupid. You don't recruit players like Rayshon Fam, Speedy Luke to not return kicks. That's what you got to look at, in my opinion. But special teams, I expect the special teams to be great. And Justin Flo is going to be on all the special teams units. When we talk about Justin Flo and about how he's a good dude, period. He's a good dude. Justin Flo, he's working hard. Really hope that he can make an impact this year because everybody wants him to. And he's a player that's got a lot of potential. I think you've just got to be able to figure out where exactly he can play. But special teams, I'm pretty pumped about with the special teams. Now, Brent Brennan and Duane Akina, Dino Babers, they all look. I think they know that they've got a good team on their hands. When when they talk, they just you can just kind of see that there's a confidence to them. But they also know that this is a very good team. I mean, they've got a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent on this roster, and it's going to be up to them to be able to maximize it. This, to me, is a top 10, top 12 team in the country, and I think a big part of it is that this is, you got a lot of talent, but I think the continuity of this coaching staff, I think, should help a great deal, and I expect it to, because again, these guys, even though it's their first year coaching together, in a full-time capacity, all of them, in the where they're at, they've all been around. Brent Brennan's been his head coach at San Jose State for quite a while. Duane Akina has been he's been with defense involved with the defensive backfield since the beginning of time. Dino Babers obviously has been the OC here before. He's been OC at other places, been a head coach. There's a lot to there's a lot of coaching experience with all these guys, and I think they felt pretty comfortable where they're at, and they should feel pretty comfortable where they're at because they got a lot of talent and they've been through this. This isn't their first rodeo, so very much excited to see what this unit can do. Now, moving over to the defensive side, Duane Akina. I have a ton of confidence in what Duane Akina is going to be able to do for Arizona. I think he's the right man at the right time. And looking at the defense, I believe that, and we'll start with the secondary. I believe that the secondary is going to be the one, maybe the strength of this team, and a big reason why is Marquise Groves Killebrew. Listen, he's going to be one of your starting cornerbacks. He looks different than almost any player out there outside of Takario Davis. He's about 6'2". You can tell why he was committed to Georgia at one point. He was also dealing with some undiagnosed injuries the past couple of seasons, which I think probably took away from his impact on the field. But him lining up opposite Takario Davis is all kinds of scintillating stuff because you got two massive cornerbacks that, Takario will play in the NFL, and I think there's a good chance that Marquise Groves Killebrew will play in the NFL as well. Those two as your boundary corners, yes, please. And then you got Traden Stukes on the inside. I think Traden Stukes is about as good a nickel as there is in the country. Duane Akina has mentioned that before. All three of those guys are very, very good, and it's one of the better defensive back units that I've seen come through the U of A in quite a while. And that's not even mentioning the safeties. You look at the safeties from a Dalton Johnson to a Genesis Smith to a Gunnar Maldonado. Those are three proven safeties. Genesis had a pick in practice today, and I think you're going to see him in the box a lot. That's where he looked when he was on the field. He was in the box and he was making plays. He can also obviously rotate in and out. There's a lot to do with it. And with the linebackers, it's going to be interesting to see because everybody knows how good Jacob Manu is. Jacob Manu is a monster. I mean, Jacob Manu is an All-American type player. Tay Brown's getting that first look at the linebacker spot next to him. Tay looks the part as well. I think it's going to be interesting to see how his play unfolds. But Tay's obviously got a lot of talent. There's a lot to like about him, and he is a kind of a late bloomer. We'll find out. He's got a really good frame, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Genesis Smith is on the field a ton. Maybe not necessarily at linebacker, but lining up somewhere in the vicinity with Jacob Manu. I think there's certainly the potential for that to be the case because Duane Akina has mentioned a bunch of different times he wants to get his best players out on the field, and Genesis Smith is one of your very best players. I think that's something that you've got to make happen one way or the other. But the secondary, though, I think is going to give this coaching staff a ton of flexibility to be able to play, to be able to go around doing things. I look for this coaching staff to be able to manipulate players in the ways that they need to be able to get the best players on the field. I would be stunned if that wasn't the case. And I think you're going to see those 6 DBs out there a lot. And Owen Goss. I think Owen Goss is going to be Colgate safety. I think he's going to be out there on the field. So you got a lot of different players, and Duane Akina is the perfect one to be able to marry all that and to be able to make all of that work. So I'm not necessarily concerned about the linebackers because I know that you've got a lot of safeties there as well. So that's obviously good. Then at the defensive line spot, it's interesting. It's definitely a smaller D line than you had last year. There's no doubt about it. I mean, but when you think about it, you had guys like Tyler Manoa, Big Bill Norton, BBN. You also had a Tia Savea. I mean, these are really big dudes. Now, your starters are big guys. Chuba is massive. Isaiah Johnson is a big guy. The thing with Isaiah Johnson is that he just needs to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to be just fine. But with Chuba's obviously probably might be the biggest guy in the conference. I'd be curious if there's bigger players in the country than Chuba. He is huge. So your starters on the interior are big. Bear Anderson looks a little bit smaller. You also look at not only Bear Anderson, but Kevon Darton looks smaller as well. But with Darton, he's more of a quick twitch type guy that I think, we'll find out how he plays, but I got a lot of faith in Akina to be able to make that one work. Then the defensive ends are fascinating because you got Trey Smith, who's obviously going to be one of your starters. He's really, really good. I expect him to have a very, very nice season for the U of A. But after that, you've also got a guy like a Tai Tauyongalele. I think both those guys will be very good at setting the edge. I'm excited to see what both those guys can do. They're certainly big enough. After that, though, you got some questions, and we're going to find out exactly. Now, I think that you're going to see players move around a lot, and I think that Duane Akina has essentially said that. You're going to see players come from a lot of different angles, and with that comes a lot of, it helps to have a lot of really good players, especially when you're dealing with defensive backs that are bigger, that have shown that they can play. Now, we're going to look ahead to, we're going to kind of give our last impressions of the first day, and then we're going to look ahead to next. But first, eBay Motors. eBay Motors, everybody, check it out. You will thank me later on this one. Tired of getting screwed over by somebody you don't know, and you're thinking to yourself, man, this shouldn't really cost this much. eBay Motors says, yep, we're here for you. Check it out. Millions of parts for your MVP. Win every time with parts that fit your ride. And again, save yourself some money. Go with the people that you trust. And eBay Motors is that. Millions of parts for your MVP. Win every time again with parts that fit your ride. Cut out the middleman. Go and get your parts and then take it to somebody you trust. That is why eBay Motors is there. Utilize it. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now. First of all, just kind of a look back. This team should be really, really good. Again, it was the first day of practice, but it was cool to watch them because they basically just got into it immediately. There was no feeling out. There was no nothing. You were going 11 on 11s. You were going 7 on 7s. You were getting a lot of different stuff going on, and 7 on 7s. And we didn't get to see a ton of the special teams, but we'll get to see that tomorrow as well. But they obviously felt pretty comfortable about that. But this is a top 25 team. This is a top 20 team. I believe this is a team that can flirt with the top 10. I believe that it's got that kind of potential to it. And I think that this coaching staff should be able to realize some of that. Like I said, there's a lot to like here. Now, going forward, what are we going to be looking for in practice 2? Obviously, going to be looking at Noah Fafita. Where is, what's that next level for him? He spoke with the media. I'm curious, though, to see, can he be an All-American type? I believe he can. What's his connection with some of these wide receivers? Obviously, T-Mac is not going to be tackled because obviously he had off-season foot surgery, but by all accounts, he's good to go. This team, though, to me, just looks... This team looks ready to rock and roll. It really does. Now, going to be interesting to see. Going to really kind of focus on Dino Babers, and his offense moving forward. What is he looking for from his, what is he from the run-pass balance? What's he looking for there? Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, as we talked about earlier, does he become that number one bell cow? Is it going to always be a committee approach? Those are the things that are interesting. And then, obviously, from wide receivers, it's going to be a lot of receivers out there, but who can really make that? Who can make that push? And there's a lot of talent there, so it's not like you're sitting here saying, man, there's just no talent here to be able to make that push, so it's a good thing to have. Then Duane Akina, you can tell feels pretty comfortable with his defense. And, what he has, I'm sure that he wishes he had a few more pass rushers, maybe a couple more linebackers, but overall, I think that he knows that he's got this team where he wants it, and I look for him to really maximize this. This guy's forgotten more football than most people will ever know. Most Division I head coaches will ever know. So that's going to be exciting. But again, this is a top 10 team in my opinion. This is a team that should be able to compete for a college football playoff berth. There are some questions, and we're going to continue to go through that during camp. But the great thing about it is we got full access. So we're going to be able to watch all of this and to be able to see how everything pans out. But so far, so good. And Brent Brennan, like I said, he knows that he's got a really good team on his hands. He knows that he has to be able to maximize everything that he's got. And I think that you're going to see him do that. And that's what's just exciting. He's not coming in here saying, did I just get 6 wins? Everything will be cool. No, he knows that he's got to win. But he's been training for this moment. And let's be honest here, every coach wants a moment where you can have a really good team that you've never worked with before with a lot of really good kids. And that's exactly what you have at the University of Arizona. So again, tomorrow we'll be back breaking down practice 2, everything that occurred for the U of A, and more that goes into it as well. But again, it's here. So football season, and we're going to be keeping it here and breaking it all down. But as always, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Bear down, back the A. Fall camp is here. Football is right around the corner. Life is good. We will talk with you tomorrow.